Vodka martini.
Shaken or stirred?
Do I look like I give a damn?
The name's Bond, James Bond.
Do I feel lucky? Well, do you, punk?
Can you feel the heat, everyone? Welcome back to Action Movies Reloaded on the Backtrack Cinema YouTube channel. This is episode 3. We're going to be talking about Bond, James Bond. Casino Royale is episode 3, guys. And I got my good buddy from across the pond, Jack Petrie, to come on and dissect Casino Royale. We're going to, go through categories. I think you guys know the format now. And then we're going to do a leaderboard and see how it fares against Cobra and RoboCop, as Cobra is in the lead for this series so far. And it's going to be 12 episodes, so 12 different movies. So we're going to see how Casino Royale fares. So, Jack, how are you, man?
Doing very well. Thanks for having me on, man. It's been a little while since we've done a little stream and a talk together, so it's going to be good fun talking about this movie. I know you're a massive action fan. I'm not quite as big an action fan as you, but I love this movie. So I'm very much looking forward to talking about it today.
Yeah, I figured you would like this, and I figured, you being from the UK, I figured Bond is big there. Am I wrong about that? Can I assume Bond may be bigger?
It's very
there?
big. It's very big here, yeah. It feels like it's very big here. I mean, obviously, it's always hard to think about it more in hindsight now, because obviously it's been quite a few years now, even since No Time to Die. So it feels like at the moment things are very quiet regarding Bond, but definitely everyone I know, all of my friends, when we're talking about movies, it's only a matter of time before Bond comes up and we're talking about it. We've all seen all the Daniel Craig, Brosnan, all that sort of stuff. So I would say over here it's pretty big. It's a pretty big deal.
Yeah, this is a franchise I have not covered often enough. I must admit, I need to go back. And I've only seen 5 Bond movies, honestly. I've seen this, GoldenEye, Moonraker, which is apparently terrible. I remember it as a kid. And the other 2 Daniel Craig ones, Quantum of Solace and Skyfall, which I really do dig Skyfall. But when I first watched this, I really enjoyed it. I was like, man, I just hope I'm not disappointed by all the other Bond movies. Hopefully I can get through them.
It's a shame you couldn't have saved Casino Royale until a little bit later on, because I actually think it's the best Bond. I think it's the best one of, was it 26 of them? I think it's the best one. So, but I kind of went back to the older ones after as well. Like I saw all the Brosnan ones before, because that was kind of me growing up. That's what I watched. And then I saw Casino Royale and was like, wow, that was the film that made me a Bond fan. And that's how over the years I've kind of gone back to them all. But I think this is the best one. I genuinely think, given everything, it's the best Bond film we've had.
Awesome. All right, so one thing I like to ask everyone right away, Jack, on each episode is, how big of an action fan are you? Do you have any memories from your kid or in a theater experience, or what movie, what action star you like what, just anything, man. Like, tell me, do you what brought you to this genre?
So action for me is actually, it's been more in my later life, really. Like recently watching movies, and I would say probably the last 5 years now is where I've become more of an action fan, because I don't know what it was when I was younger. I don't know if I just saw bad action movies. I don't know what it was, but I didn't think of myself as an action fan. And I'm sure, like a lot of people, like Terminator for me, the first 2 Terminator films were 2 of the massive movies for me that made me go, oh wow, this is how good an action film can be. They were big ones for me. And yeah, again, young, seeing stuff like Bond, movies like that, that they were kind of the few movies that I really, really loved. But it's kind of just delving into it more these days. I've been watching more experimental stuff recently, just going back to kind of like a bit of Hong Kong cinema, seeing a lot of that kind of action as well. And it's just like, I've realized I'm actually a fan of the genre, really, when I didn't think I was. So it's been interesting, but I didn't grow up. I was always a horror fan. Darker movies, thrillers, a little bit slower stuff rather than action. But I now definitely consider myself an action fan.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. And me being the host of the show, everyone, you guys know how I got into it pretty much, but there's always newer people coming to the channel. So I'll just make it quick. It's pretty much First Blood, Rambo, Terminator, Predator, Aliens. These are all movies that I just loved. The Chuck Norris movies, the Van Damme movies. I kind of liked it all, but Stallone's kind of my guy. And so this will be fun to talk about because I only watched this one a couple years ago for the first time, to be honest. A few years ago before I rebranded this channel, I actually reviewed this movie. So so this is gonna be a lot of fun to get into here. So Jack, tell me like you're out with friends, they've never seen Casino Royale, and make a big statement about this movie. Like, what do you tell them? Why do you have to watch this movie?
I think the thing is, it picked up at a point where Bond, probably by most, are considered to have gone downhill. Like when I was growing up watching some of the Brosnan Bonds and even the ones before that, Roger Moore, they definitely got the kind of sillier, more fun side to it, which a lot of people like and stuff. But for me, they just felt like TV movies. You could have them on in the day, have a bit of fun with them, but they weren't the sort of movies that would actually stick with you. And seeing Casino Royale, it felt like a real event. It felt like a movie that was taking itself seriously, taking the character seriously. Everything in it is so much more well thought out than, in my opinion, all of the other Bonds, but the vast majority of the Bond films. Every single character, every moment is just it's so well done. It's just like a league above the majority of the Bond films, I think. And, most of the films I would say in the series, or a lot of them, are probably only for Bond fans. People who love all the Bonds, they can go through all of them, have fun with them.
Right,
But
right.
Casino Royale is the kind of movie I'd recommend to people who don't even care about, even if they don't like Bond, don't like action, I'd be like, you have to still see Casino Royale. So that's what puts it a league above for me. It's beyond just a good Bond film.
Yeah, I mean, when I first watched it, I went, wow, this is really stripped down and less gadgets. It's grittier. It's more playing into Bourne Identity, Mission Impossible, like those kind of vibes. And I love that about it. Yet I still feel like this is Bond. As little I know about Bond, he still felt like James Bond, more of an origin story, which I kind of like origin stories myself. At least this one pulled it off, and Batman Begins pulled it off really well. So kind of come out at the same time. Even the Planet of the Apes trilogy, that Rise of the Apes is a great little origin story, right? So yeah, I mean, I'm excited to get into more Bond. Eventually I will, but I think
That's
this
something that was good. That was something good about this one, is that because these movies are really the only part of the series that kind of all tie in as one big story. So Casino Royale does really feel like a new beginning, and it connects into the other films really nicely. Whereas, so I don't know if you know this about the older films yet, but there is some through line stories, but you could basically jump in and out of anyone you want and you wouldn't be lost. It doesn't matter at all. Whereas that's not the case with the Craig films. But I like that about Casino Royale, is you're starting again with the character before he's kind of experienced, before he's the true 007 that he becomes later on. So you kind of see the earlier days, and I like that, rather than the other films where you pick up and he's already been in this for years, he already knows what he's doing and all that. I actually prefer this as a big through line. It just changed it up a bit.
Right. Yeah, it's a great. I find it plays to the diehard fans. I would believe would love this one, and I think just a generic action fan would put this on and just really love it. So
Absolutely.
yeah, so let's get into this here. Alrighty. So we got Casino Royale. Sorry, can't talk, guys. Released on November 17th, 2006. Directed by Martin Campbell, written by Neil Purvis, Robert Wade, and Paul Haggis. So I know Paul Haggis' name. Starring Daniel Craig, Eva Green, and Judi Dench. A budget of $150 million. Box office of $616 million. These are just like rounded off to everyone. And Rotten Tomatoes gives it 94% for the critics, 90% for the audience. That's really, really high. It's really good. And IMDb gives it an 8 out of 10. So Jack, do you agree with all these numbers?
Yes. Yes, I do. Should be high. I mean, you know how it is on IMDb. 8 is actually very high for a movie. You know, relatively speaking, it's very, very high, especially for a Bond movie. I would actually go as I'd probably guess that it's the highest rated. Maybe Goldfinger. Maybe it's probably between this and Gold. I bet Goldfinger, because of the legacy of that film. I think that
Right.
might be one of the other ones that's kind of closely matched. But I would bet aside from that, this, especially of the modern era, I suspect this is the most highest rated from kind of critics and users on these sites like Rotten Tomatoes and IMDb as well.
Yeah, they're pretty good numbers. You could see why they made more, right? It make that like the profit there, unbelievable.
Yeah, yeah, certainly a moneymaker.
All right, so let's start with the story here, Jack. What did you give this story, and tell me about what do you love about the story of Casino Royale?
So I was saying to you before we started recording this, Jason, there's going to be a lot of tens, a lot of high praise for this movie because I genuinely love it. I gave the story for this one a 10. And I think it's just because they do such a good job of opening up this world without trying to do too much. Like, I actually think that I won't spoil too much for you as well, because obviously you haven't finished all of the movies yet, but there's elements later on, I think, in where it goes, where it becomes not quite as special as I thought it was going to be. And I think with Casino Royale, the amount of information they give you, the way they set up the world of Quantum and Spectre, and how these villains kind of partially tie into it, but they're not the real people at work, like the real top dogs at work and stuff. I love all of that. I just think it's quite a mysterious film. You know, it challenges you to kind of follow along with it and keep up with certain characters and what they're about, and especially with the whole villain side of it. So for me, that was a lot more refreshing than the older style of Bonds, where the villains were often a lot more. I want to say generic, but they did sort of follow a certain formula. They were always up to the same thing. They were revealed a similar way, and all of this. Whereas I felt with this film, it was a bit more complex. And I just, as a first chapter, I think they just told the perfect amount of story for this new kind of era.
Absolutely, yeah. I give it a 10 too. I love this story. I like that it's an origin story. I like the grittiness of it too. And I also like the structure of it. Like, I like how it's going for Bond getting his license to kill. The style at the beginning, it's clearly stating we're for something different. This is grittier, giving it that black and white, and then coming into when it comes into color and everything, him. So it's very action packed at the beginning. Then the second act centers around this poker game, which is more methodical. It's a little more you just watching the reactions and how interesting it is, but just a poker game. Like, that's what gets me, man, how interesting it can be. And then the third act, like, you think the movie's going to end and it goes into this romance, and then you get that that punch in the gut with the emotion part where he falls for oh god, what's her name? Eva Green's character.
Vespa.
Yeah, Vespa. He falls for Vespa, and then we see him turn into that cold off, Bond at the end of this, and becomes the Bond that I guess we come to know, where he's kind of shut off emotionally, right? So I like all that about the story.
I think that's so true to say about the poker as well. It's quite a funny fact about the film that at the time this came out, people were so like enthralled by all of the poker scenes. Like, poker really kind of blew up online, where loads of people were doing it and playing and talking about it, because it's absolutely captivating. Like, in an action film, say, it starts with action, it finishes with action, but in the middle it's like this kind of slow poker drama, but it's so good. It's so good to watch.
It really is, and there's a lot of tension with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
a lot of tension
absolutely.
with it. Like, I still like watching it. I watched it this morning. It's pretty fresh. The last 2 days I've been trying to watch this movie, and finally, I stayed up too late last night, so I put it on this morning. Now, for me, because I'm deaf, man, and my wife was trying to sleep, the English accent's coming off really fast, and I'm like, what did they just say? And my subtitles wouldn't work, so I was like, I really had to pay attention.
You're gonna be fresh and sharp for this one.
Yeah, you do, actually. You do, but
I mean, it's quite funny. Beyond the British accents, I do think, I mean, when I saw this film, I was only 13 or 14 when this film came out, And I loved it, but I realized, I've seen it many times over the years now, and I realize now that the story is actually quite complex for like a kid or a teenager to watch it. Do you know what I mean? Like the story, if you miss bits when it's talking about shorting stocks and these kind of the terrorist plot lines and what they're up to, it's like I can imagine a lot of kids watching that and going, I don't know.
It's layered. It's got a lot of layers to it in that sense, and suspenseful. Like when I first watched it, like my first viewing, I was generally like on the edge of my seat when he got drugged, and he's trying to get the defibrillator. Like that was like, are they gonna like sweating and everything? And then he goes right back to the game. And I'll save a couple lines for later. But yeah, I really love the story here. It's perfect. Like it's a perfect story. The way they weaved it in, and everything. So absolutely perfect.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, they did a great job. I really think it, as I say, it's like, it's in a way, I love the other films that came after in the Daniel Craig era, but it's a shame it never quite lived up to this, because for me, the way they set up, because it's really the setup. If you think about what the organization's all about, this is really just the early days of it, or the early days that they're kind of getting onto it. And it's like, damn, this is going to be so good. Like, I can't, where are they going to go? And I never felt like they quite landed it the way I wanted to. But as far as this film went on its own, just perfection.
Absolutely. All right, this is a big category. Our hero, James Bond. I guess he needs no introduction as a character for the franchise, but Jack, tell me, how do you like this version of Bond, Daniel Craig's Bond, and what are you giving him?
Trying to remember exactly which number I gave it. I'm pretty sure I would have given this a 10 as well, because this is my favorite James Bond. It's my favorite iteration of the character. As much as I like the other actors that played Bond, I'm actually someone who liked all of them, really, to an extent. But Daniel Craig, for me, it just makes as you say, it makes the whole thing grittier. It just brought a sense of realism about it. This felt like a guy who could actually do the stuff that he was doing, in the film. He feels like someone who is quite intimidating. That he's smart. You wouldn't want to mess with him. He actually feels real to me in that way. Whereas the other films or the previous iterations, I like them for what they were, but it never quite sold me the same way, especially within the violence of this world and how they cope with it. To me, Craig was the most convincing of those actors. And put it this way, the only people that really criticize Craig, people talk about hair color, not being true to the original story. And you can see people really clutching at straws, because the Craig iteration of this is fantastic. I love the character, and it's definitely my favorite.
Oh yeah, he's just a great character. I just love how he keeps me guessing. He keeps me guessing in this film. Like when I first watched it, in that action sequence at the beginning, and then he's at the embassy, is it the embassy or whatever? And then he just pulls the gun out, and I go, no, I thought it was a training mission. I thought, like after he blew everything up, I thought that had to be a training mission. I was like, oh my goodness. He's like, well, one of the themes that's going for is putting his ego in check and his arrogance. And I just love how smug he can be, and how he's so sure of himself. And the way the first Bond girl in this movie, the first girl, just the way he just lures her in so bloody easily. I go, that's Bond. That's Bond.
Yeah.
But
it's the way that she even says to him that she knows he's manipulating her, and she's fine with it. And he's like, I can get away with this.
Yeah, and he's and then when the sense that you see that sensitive side with him and Vespa, right? Is really cool, and all the interactions with him and Judi Dench are just fantastic. I just, how the hell did you get in here? He's just so he's sitting there so calm and cool.
I think this is the amazing thing about Craig that you don't get as much with the previous ones, is he has a different relationship with each of the characters, and he actually has to do a lot more in this Bond than he has in previous ones. Like, the relationships in this are quite personal, and he is also very cold as well when he needs to be. Like, I feel like the way he deals with each character is all quite different depending on who they are and how close he is to them. Like the way he has that deep respect for M, even though they have the Judi Dench, even though they have those kind of fallouts, and then how he's kind of much softer with Vesper, and how he's cold again when to some of the other guys. It's like that there's complexity to the character, and he's really doing a lot with the role. Like, I remember all of those interactions between him and the other characters, which I think is the standout for him, really, but particularly in this film.
Yeah, I love the way he smirks too. Like after he has a conversation with Vespa, and he just gets up and he goes, and he does this little grin, like when she said, "I'm the money, and he's this like every penny.
Not many people could get away with doing the lines like he does. That's for sure.
It's all delivery, and the tone of that delivery, it fits the movie so well. And for me, I gave him a 9.5, so I'm almost at a 10 with this character. So I put him pretty high too. But yeah, I think we could do a whole recording on this character. That's how layered and how strong he really is.
It's really good. I mean, I like Connery as well. I like Brosnan. But I feel like the strengths of those two guys, Daniel Craig did kind of bring them together. You know, I really do think there's that slightly light side and the fun and the kind of having fun with all the characters, but also there is the genuinely darker, grittier side to him that I think it just works for me a bit better within, because I like the more serious style of Bond. I like it because I think it's a great world. It's a very cool story, and I like it being a bit grittier and like. You know, the real stuff they're doing, they're dealing with terrorist organizations and stuff. It shouldn't feel like slapstick, which is what some of the films sort of started to lean into. I like this. This is how I want Bond to be told. And the fact that Craig as well was a little bit of an unknown at the time. Well, not an unknown, but he wasn't the worldwide sort of A-list actor. I don't think that he is, obviously, now post-Bond. So it was the fact you didn't really see him as other people. You didn't see him as this other actor. Oh, he's that guy from that film. It's like, oh, this is new guy. Most people haven't heard of him, and you just get immersed in the world with him. I love it.
Yeah, it's true. And the only ones I really know is I saw Moonraker once. Oh, I watched it as a kid. I don't know why that was always on, but I was never a big fan of Roger Moore though. But Pierce Brosnan, I remember as a teenager playing Bond, and he just seemed like kind of the perfect actor for it at that time anyway.
Brosnan's really good. I mean, a lot of people I can imagine probably a number of people would say Brosnan is their favorite. I think he got a little bit let down when you see, I actually think you've seen the only good Brosnan film, which is GoldenEye. I don't actually really like the other Bond films that came after that Brosnan did. So I think he was a bit let down by that because he was very good. And I like him as an actor as well. I just prefer Craig as Bond. But, you know, Brosnan was a great pick, and especially at the time in the 90s. Nothing wrong with that at all. But I think, he's mainly let down by the films, sadly. Because when you see them, you'll know what I talk. I mean, some people kind of like, you know, Tomorrow Never Dies and you know, World Is Not Enough. But for me, GoldenEye was the one film that was really good.
Right. Awesome. All right, our villain with Le Chiffre here, Mads Mikkelsen. Tell me, what do you like this villain?
I love this villain. Yeah, amazing. I mean, Mads Mikkelsen, so good. I mean, such a good actor. I mean, if you've seen him in other movies as well, he can play so many different roles. Like there's something really interesting about just the way he is, like his mannerisms as a guy. Like there was a film called The Hunt that he did some years ago. It's a Danish film where he's actually from, and it's like obviously a foreign language film, and it's a really emotional performance. And I was like, wow, you just don't expect this from this guy, and it makes you realize how talented he really is as an actor. And it's just the still coldness of him. But also having that charisma. I mean, what a great villain! I mean, there's just how many other villains like before this were as good as Le Chiffre, as Mads Mikkelsen as an actor. It's just, I thought he was brilliant. If anything, I wanted more of him. I think maybe I would like to have even seen more of his character, because obviously it's quite a while before you really get into him until the poker table. Maybe that's better though. They kind of build up to it, but. Yeah, I absolutely love the character. I love the actor. I would have just liked to have seen even more of him in the film.
Yeah, and on my notes, you gave him a 9, so it's
Yeah, I would have
it's
put
pretty
that.
high.
I mean, I'm probably high between 9 and 10, mainly just because I probably wanted even a little bit more. Just because it's like they don't delve that much into how much of a part. Like in the following films, they don't really retrospectively kind of talk about how involved he really was. He's kind of quite a small player in terms of Spectre overall. But I think his involvement in this film is great. No, I love him as a villain.
Well, he gets killed pretty quick, right? And you're going into
That's the
that
thing. I
third
just felt
act.
like he gets killed quite quickly. So I just almost feel like at the end, that's the only thing that I guess I would give it a 9/10 is that I feel like, maybe we could have had even more. I'd like to have known even more about him and his involvement, because I actually think he's probably one of the most interesting villains that we get in this whole Daniel Craig era.
Right.
So maybe I would have wanted more.
I
But
I,
great,
I love
great villain.
yeah, I love the actor too, and I love the villain. I gave him an 8. There's a point down, but I like his mannerisms. He's constantly playing with his chips, and when he starts bleeding,
Yeah,
with the
the
eye.
weeping blood.
Yeah, I like the fact that there's just there's character traits he has, like with the inhaler all the time. They
Yeah,
just give him all these things that seem very Bond villainous like. You know what I
yeah.
mean? And the fact that
Uh,
I like the fact that his woman is blonde, and it's opposite
yeah.
to Eva. And when he goes to poisoned Bond, it's a blonde, like blonde poison. All kind of this symbolism there. I that's what I go. That had to be on purpose. She looks brighter. She looks usually the evil person's the dark and black, black hair. But in this,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
like
yeah.
the blonde is the
She's the
villain.
one up to no
Kind of.
good. I
But
think
yeah,
there's something else I like with, because obviously a lot of the previous Bond villains, they're out and out villains, that they are very much evil. They're very
yeah,
cold, and that's just how they are. But with Mads Mikkelsen, what I really like is that even though he is obviously he's the bad guy, he's the terrorist, he's all of these kind of things. I like that they kind of show that like he's uncomfortable with everything going on, like how he knows he's in deep shit. Like he really knows stuff's going wrong, and you feel that like he looks stressed, and that's what I really like. Whereas he's cold villain who is kind of a bit fearless, will deal with anything, but at the same time you can tell that he's like sweating and like really on edge. And I just think
yeah.
he is an actor that has the subtlety to kind of bring that to a role, whereas I felt like some of the older performances of Bond villains were a bit more binary in that way. You got your world dominator, evil
Yeah.
villain, and that's all you get. Whereas
No,
I
like
feel like with this guy, you get a lot more.
like the stakes are high for him too. He has to win this poker game because he owes people
Yeah,
money, right? Like, and they like that little action sequence we get, right, where he's they want the money from him, and so I like that too. I like that and all the poker table stuff I think's the greatest.
so good.
And
I
yeah,
love it.
it's so good. This the playback between, or their their chemistry and everything back and forth. And yeah, it's very they don't have to say anything, it's all in their faces, which is great.
Yeah. The interaction between him and Bond, like, there's probably only a handful of lines, but they're so good. Like, you just want to rewatch them because there's just a few little interactions where you can feel the tension between them. And like, Bond's obviously having a little bit of fun with it. And obviously, Lashiv's in such a bad situation. You can tell he's just not in the mood for it. I love that between them.
Absolutely. All right, our action set pieces. What did you give action set pieces?
Now, I know I gave this one a 10. That's
You
going to be a
did.
10.
You did.
100%. I mean, look at that opening, like the free running. I'm sorry, but it's absolutely incredible. Like, even now, like watching it now, there's not action set pieces that we get ever, really. Maybe once every couple of years that make me feel like I did watching this. Like, because again, it came after the Brosnan films, where even the Brosnan era did rely on a lot of. Obviously, it was kind of in that in between CGI era, where
Yeah.
it was starting to use more digital effects. I especially Die Another Day, which is just all of the action is CGI'd, and it looks horrible. And coming into this opening of this film, where you have that free run in Madagascar, I mean, it's just staggering. It's like, it's just one of the most exciting action scenes in film, I think. And, you know, Daniel Craig, I mean, I don't know how much of it he actually did, but I know the guy that he's chasing after is like an actual free running champion. So it's like pretty real, all of this stuff. And when they're leaping between the cranes onto the buildings and rolling off, it's just amazing. I mean, I love that stuff. I absolutely love it.
Yeah, the first thing I noticed, I gave this a 10 too, because this basically the beginning, this chase scene, it just wowed me. But the other action set pieces that are in it are all great too. You know, even when he's about to run over Eva Green Vespa and he has to turn the last minute and flips the car, that was a great stunt. That well, I guess we'll get to that. We'll get to that. But put the cart before the horse here. But yeah, this was so, you said it, exciting. It's adrenaline packed. It's exciting when he starts chasing him, and just the camera work too. All those high rise aerial shots, and then when you're low, and then they got the shaky cam too. But then it's cool. Like while they're running, it's tight, and then it goes to an overhead shot of him on the building jumping off, and you can see, wow, the continuity is so in line,
so tight. Yeah, it's great. And they say it's the mix where like you have one scene where it's slow and like panning, where you're watching them jumping down, and then you're following them head on as they're going through all the windows and stuff. And it's like, it's just unbelievable. And as you say, like I think a lot of other films don't capture that well. Like even the Bourne films are good, but that kind of relies on a lot of the fast, quick cut, shaky cam kind of stuff, which I mean, I do like Bourne, but I think the blend here of the two really makes it, particularly in that opening segment. And I love how unpredictable it is as well. Like you've already mentioned about at the end when they're actually in the embassy and he brings him outside, he holds him, he's got the gun to him, and you think, how is this going to play out? And the way he just sort of kills the guys, takes them all out. And it's like, whoa, what just like so unpredictable. It wasn't like a big lead up, slow motion as he goes to kill the guy or anything like that. It's just like he's there, the alarms are all going off. He's got to take this guy out alive, but he knows he's not getting away if he doesn't. And he decides to just shoot them all. And it's just like, what a moment. Like just for the first like 20 minutes of the film, it's insane.
Yeah, it's great, man. And I like how well it's paced too, from action set piece to action set piece. Like the middle act is all about that poker table, but they go, okay, we're gonna throw a nice little suspenseful scene when he gets drugged, and also another action sequence we'll throw in. Well, it's all part of the narrative too, right? When they take a break, and then they're coming after Lashif, and
in the hotel,
Bond gets in the mix. Yeah, in the hotel there. So it's like, oh, we get another little action set piece, but it's almost like let's get back to the poker game, right? Because that's how it's crazy how interesting it is when there's not much camera movement going on and not much. It's just a poker game, right?
Yeah.
And if you don't know much about poker, I could see how you could be lost a little of what's going on.
Yeah, I think they do it in quite an interesting way where they kind of make it interesting for people that do like poker and do play, but it's enough that just the tension and generally like you're following along that he's obviously getting a bit too big for his boots and ends up losing before getting the buy back in. So it allows you to kind of follow along. But I think people who like poker will get more from that and find it very interesting, like how they're calling the bluffs and why they're knowing when to bet. And like they actually do kind of delve into that quite a bit, which I love. But say it just makes it all the more exciting that, like, as you say, they're playing this huge stakes game. And in between going up and down, they're dealing with fights, they're being poisoned, they're changing their suits, coming back down. Like this game, it's just really doing a number on them. But I love that.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Yeah, this I could talk all day about this action sequence. I was so impressed when I watched it. I was just like, wow.
Mental.
I mean, if you're definitely not judging this movie poorly on its action, that's for sure.
That's why I think people who are just big action fans alone, like people who just love big action set pieces, would love that movie, would love, Casino Royale.
I agree.
Good, real, practical, really well thought out action set pieces, unpredictable, exciting. And even now, as you say, 20 years since this movie came out. And, we've had great stuff. We've had the Mission Impossible, especially the later Mission Impossible films, really go there and are pretty incredible themselves. But I think this still holds up. Like, if this came out today, I think people would still love it just as much. I agree.
All right, one-liners, buddy. So this could be a piece of dialogue that you like really too, but as a whole, all the dialogue, the one-liners. Well, you told me you're giving it a 7. You sticking by that?
So I'm giving this a 7. It's a bit of a weird one
Yeah.
for me to talk on one-liners, because one-liners is something I don't generally care for that much, even though it's been a staple of Bond since the beginning. And I don't really have the particular quotes to hand, but I think in this film, I like this one more than other films because they are a bit more subtle and they are fun and light, but they kind of fit with the whole mood of it. It's not like we have to have a big moment where we stop and we almost have Bond looking at the camera to deliver this ridiculously over the top cheesy one liner, which, you know, a lot of the films were absolutely filled with, and it's maybe a little bit cringy at times. I'm not a massive one-liner guy. I have to say, I've never really liked one-liners and that kind of stuff. I know it is a staple of Bond, and there is some great lines in this. Like again, the way it's basically a lot of it's almost having fun with the concept they've had of having one-liners, like by taking the mick out of itself. Like you have the whole thing with the martini, where it's like, you know, shaken or stirred. He's like, do I look like I give a damn?
Yeah.
It's just like little subversions and stuff like that. That's the stuff that I loved, and I enjoy that in this film. But I only rate it lower because one-liners is not what makes it for me. It's not the part of Bond that I care for that much, but it does work in this.
Yeah, and I gave it a 8. I gave it an 8 because the one-liners you do get are so strong to me, and they're played so well. Like you just said, though, that one's just priceless, man. Like, does it look like I give a damn? You know, after he's lost the poker and he's kind of pissed and stuff like that. But there's a huge build-up to the last scene of the movie when he finally goes, Bond, James Bond, like that. That is so earned, I think. That line.
That is an amazing scene when he's got the foot on Mr. White, looking down with his gun, and it just looks awesome. It's just such a good scene.
It ends so well. But the one I really like, though, is when he gets poisoned, he comes back and he goes, "That last hand, it almost killed me."
Yeah,
it's something like that.
No, they are good.
That.
They are good. They are fun. They are really fun.
That could have been bad. That could have been delivered horribly wrong.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I mean, I think I just have a bit of an aversion. Like, I think it's because movies, like especially blockbuster big movies, they rely so heavily on one-liners. Like superhero films, I think are the worst offender, where one-liners are just like their bread and butter. You know, it's always one-liners, diffuse the tension, And I felt like the older Bonds used to do that. It used to be like, diffuse the tension. It's all got a bit serious. Let's have a one-liner and just bring it all back down. And I didn't really like that they used to do that. And in this film, you say that it's more like fitting of the situation. Like, you know, say the don't give a damn bit, the last hand, like where he's kind of wanting to make fun of Lashif. Like they're more in context with, there's a reason why he would deliver that line in a funny way in the film. Whereas like some of the other ones, you're like, that's to the camera. That he's doing that to the camera, you know. Well, I never really liked that so much. But so one-liners are it's not the thing that make the film for me. But I do like that they scaled it back and made it a little bit less cheesy in this one.
For sure. I agree. All right. Okay, this is kind of playing with action set pieces too, but stunts and practical effects. You gave me a 9 on this one. I also have a 9 on this. So just tell me, does anything stand out? A certain stunt or a certain practical effect? Because they went back to practical effects on this. That's something Martin Campbell was like insisted on, right?
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because Martin Campbell, he also did GoldenEye as well, and they really tried to do what they could in terms of practical effects back on GoldenEye. Like even all of the plane sequence stuff, that's all like models and real stuff. So they did whatever they could. I just think in GoldenEye, they were too ambitious with some of the scenes. Like they're so ambitious that like there's only so much you can do, especially at the time. Whereas in Casino Royale, I think he never lets it get too crazy or too over the top to a point where you'd either have to rely on CGI or it would just look ridiculous. You know, so he kept it, like the action is grounded, like you say about, you know, when you have the car when they're turning it off the thing, like they knew how to like plan and set up that scene and do it in a really nice way. They could do it practically, but they don't have him like jumping out of one plane and flying into another plane, for example. Like, it's like stuff that's like you'd either have to CGI it or you'd have to do something really silly with practical effects in order to make it work. The kind of stuff that takes you out of a film, especially one that's going for a more gritty sort of feel like this one. So I love that they didn't try and overreach in terms of what they could do with the stunts. Like the stunts stand out to me, and the ones that they knew they could make work, like the free running, as we've gone over, like they made sure they got the right people for it. They set it up, they choreographed it well. And it just knows that balance. It never goes too far of it. The only thing I guess it wouldn't be a 10 is that I do think like there probably are, like especially Mission Impossible. I think Tom Cruise is the obvious example of someone he's done things with action, which I think of like really broken ground that might never be broken again. He's like, he's done stuff that for real in films where you're like, I can't actually believe that. So it's not on that level in terms of the stunts and the practical effects, but I think in terms of what they were doing for a Bond film, getting good stunts, good action scenes, getting realism without having to crutch on CGI, I think they did an amazing job with this.
Yeah, absolutely. Like the parkour scene, right? The stunts in there, especially the guy he's chasing, like the way he's running and he swings through, like he comes up on his hands and his feet first go through like a window or whatever it is.
Tail the bench over,
It's like, this is great stunt work, man. And some of the car chase stuff, and sometimes there's a little bit more to talk to when you're talking about something like in RoboCop. There's a lot more gore and stuff like that with this section, but man, I gave it a 9 too. The practical effects are just awesome, man. Just awesome.
I like as well, there's one thing as well I also forgot to say that I love in this, is they made the fights. I mean, obviously this film still had to be like, I don't know what the rating would be where you are in Canada, but here it's like the 12 or PG, what the Americans would call the PG-13. They basically had, I think they tried to keep it just about on that level. And I think they did a great job making the violence feel pretty gnarly and pretty gritty and real without it having to be so violent that they had to up the rating on it. Like, I think they did a nice job with that, where some of the older films, you get that slightly overly choreographed fight scene, with the way it kind of plays out almost like a dance a little bit more than a real fight. Whereas in this, it's like, the opening in black and white where he's showing one of his first kills. He has to have his 2 kills, and the way he's like slamming his head through all of the sinks and stuff. It's like, damn, it just feels really brutal, but it's not bloody. It just feels violent, feels brutal. I love that.
Yeah, that was, the way they intercut that all too. And, and I like how he's sitting in shadow and the other guy's sitting in the light. I think that's an old Psycho. If you watch Psycho, Norman Bates is in the shadows and Marion's in the light, right? It's a cool cinematography trick. Maybe not a trick, but just setting up your lights and everything like that for what
just brings the atmosphere, gets you thinking. It's meant to get you thinking in a certain way about what's happening, what we're supposed to think of the characters, isn't it? Just clever tricks to kind of get us thinking before the thing that's going to happen actually has.
Absolutely. All right, the score. So we both have this at a 9. I think the score is amazing. The old James Bond themes going through it are great. The title card is amazing in this. The Chris Cornell song, I love it. I love the visuals that the music's going over too.
Absolutely. Yeah, the opening credits with Chris Cornell's voice and You Know My Name. Absolutely love this song. I mean, people don't talk about this song as much. I mean, I absolutely love it. I love Chris Cornell. I loved his bands as well. I love his voice. And I think what a great choice for doing this song. Such a unique voice. And just, the intercutting of that song. Obviously, it was written between him and the composer, was it David Arnold, he worked in actually a lot of the Bond films. He was actually probably one of the more prominent score writers for Bond, but they did that song together, and say that with the cutting of the the animated title credits, it's just so good. It's so good.
Yeah, it really is, man. And the main theme there, where he shoots in the circle, dun 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 dun. It's very classic for all those Bond fans, right? I guess you kind of
It's
have
like a mix. There's like a real
Yeah.
mix of classic and modern with that. They had the kind of more orchestral, but like they brought a little bit of like electronic-y stuff into it as well. So it had like a bit of a modern flavor to the
Right.
original stuff. It just sounded, it sounds like you could listen to it in itself. You know, it's like the second it comes on, it just like, damn, it feels right.
Well, I'm glad I had you on then because I'm not I haven't watched enough Bond to really dissect it like that.
It's
But
yeah. I
it's good.
mean, this film, it just goes to what I'm saying about Casino Royale, about all of the others. Is I felt there's an element with some of the other Bonds, which you'll see when you get around to watching them, is that there's just not they were brought out quite quickly. They got another one in the can, you know. Whereas this one, it felt like because they were sort of reinventing the series again and bringing it back, it's like every single thing has had a ton of effort put into it. Like there's no stone left unturned with this film. It's like the score has to be right, the song has to be right, the actors have to be right, the scenes have to be right. It's just every aspect of the film. It just felt like more care and love went into this project, I think, than probably any of the others, really.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. For sure. All right, let's move on to supporting characters. And this is as a whole. Jack's sitting at a 10, everyone. I'm sitting at a 9. So tell me about like some of these supporting characters you love.
Yeah, I mean, for me, definitely my favorite Bond girl, Vespa with Eva Green. Um, Such a good character, and I like as well that obviously, again in Bond before this, of the female characters, the most of the women that he would meet, it would be always short relationships, which is, you know, part of the fun of Bond and stuff. You know, I never wanted to see him sort of get married and go that route with it. It's just not the character. But I think I really like here that there is a little bit more of an emotional connection. And I just think that Eva Green, I mean, I love her as an actress as well. And she is very charming. Like, you get why Bond is falling for her. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
as it goes on
Yeah.
with that, because I think she's so smart. She's so charming. Like, there's something like a bit mysterious about her. And I think she's by far the most memorable, complex, and interesting Bond girl across the whole series. What a fantastic pick. Like, the matching of them two is just damn good. And you remember it. Like, you know, half the Bond girls I don't remember. You know, I remember the ones who were better looking. I don't really remember like the characters in themselves. Whereas Vespa,
Well,
you actually remember
I think that's
her.
the point too. They had to get that right. They had to make the audience remember her because she's the catalyst on everything going forward with him.
exactly.
Like, so, you know, I want to meet the
Exactly.
bitch that fucked you up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. How did you become like this? Well,
And when he
it was
says
a woman,
that
and she
too,
was a good woman.
when he says that to Judy Dench, to M, he's like, "Why wouldn't I go back to work? The bitch is dead." He's just
Yeah,
so shut off, and
yeah.
I love that.
But you
too.
can
And I
tell
love
he's trying. You can tell he's trying to do it. He's trying to shut off. He has to
Yeah,
emotionally disconnect and go forward because he knows she's gone. He knows he's going to be putting his head back into the life of MI6, and it's like letting go of it. And it's like, man, I feel it. I feel it because it would be tough. But yeah,
it's
I
true.
love the character. I love the character. I think I love how much of a big part she plays in it as well. You know, I just love that. And it didn't feel
really,
like them kind of going the modern direction where it was like, because you know, with some of the later ones, they complain about the fact that Bond doesn't like bed as many women, for example, and they felt like it was more of a modern thing. But it's like here, I love the middle ground they find where it's like, yeah, make them more common. You don't have to take away that completely, but actually make the women more interesting and real characters as well, not literally just circumstantial characters. You know.
Yeah, and I also love the tux scene where she buys him the tux and she goes, what did she say? I squared you up when I met you, or I sized you up. She goes,
Yeah, sized you up.
you
Yeah.
up the moment I met you. It's like, and then he puts the tux on. It's like, oh, there's another cool moment. He's got his iconic tux, right? And that was all because of
Yeah.
Vespa,
And I love
right?
it. I love the banter with her as well, because it's like when he picks his suit, because he thinks he's a man of fashion as well. He has a suit that he already likes, and he tries on her tux. He's like, I can't believe you chose that for me. But then he tries it on, and he just looks amazing, and you're like,
Yeah,
damn,
exactly.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Like you
So
got,
good.
what do they say? Is like, I want you to look like you belong at that table.
Yeah, that's it.
Kind
Yeah.
of. Yeah, it's great. Yeah, she's great. And of course, some of the other side villains, the one who screwed over Bond there, I forget his name now, but he's at the poker table too. like he's hanging out with Vespa all the time. I
Oh,
forget her name.
Mathis.
Or
Mathis.
yeah, Mathis. That's
Yeah.
it, Mathis.
Yeah.
Man, I just watched this morning. Holy crap! But
Yeah. It's always
you know,
weird as well with that story because it's hard to. I mean, it took me a few watches before really realizing what his deal was like. Because obviously he's working like with the French MI6 or wherever it was. So it's like he is actually good. He's not really working with Le Chiffre, but it's not really that clear in the film. I mean, he's a great character. I like his presence there and stuff. I think he's good. And but it's kind of, I find his plot line not the most easy to follow, if you know what I mean. They don't really ever spell it out to you like how involved he really was on what side. And
yeah, but even the first Bond girl, there's even a little bit of character to her. There even is, she's not there very often. Obviously, she's there just to be gorgeous, to be lured in by Bond, but there's a little bit there, I find anyway. There's a little bit of charm to her that, you know, that I kind of like.
They show her quite a bit. You get her for like a good few scenes as well, you know.
Yeah, and then obviously Judi Dench is fantastic in this.
Amazing.
In this movie. Absolutely amazing. I did really love her. I love that
you get a woman in her 70s that really gives like him his match. Like she can stand up to him and be like, "You're talking bollocks."
Yeah,
I just love that.
exactly.
I love that.
Or what does he say when she's when he breaks into her hotel or her room or whatever, and she's like, "What's your? Well, want me to find out your real name? I will kill you." Like, like,
utter one more syllable and I will have you killed.
She's so great. Like, and I believe she was in Goldeneye, right? The same actress.
She is. Okay. Yeah, she's in the Brosnan ones as well. Yeah, I can't remember. She's in all of them. Yeah, I think she's in all of them. I think she's basically in everything from the Brosnan era onwards. And like, I love how they set her up again here as well with Bugs. It's like the way it carries on, obviously, like especially into Skyfall and stuff. Like, I love how the relationship between them develops. What a great character. Like Judi Dench, such a good pick for M. It's like just such good casting. I love it.
Absolutely. All right, moving on to our entertainment value. You got a 10. I put this at a 9. It's got to be a
10.
Yeah, I put it at a 9. I'm pretty close with you. I'm pretty close. I think I mean 9 is awesome. It's an awesome rating, guys. So I guess it threw me off a little bit whenever I watch it that they go from after the second act to the third, it becomes like this romance. And I know it's earned. I know it's going so, but when you first watch, it's kind of like, shouldn't they be ending the movie? But you realize that she's had her own agenda.
That's it.
Vespa. So I guess for entertainment, you know, it may dip just slightly for me during that act. But you know, when I reviewed it originally, I gave it a 5 out of 5. This movie, I still consider it a perfect movie, but entertaining as hell, and just the dialogue, the action, the characters banter back and forth. You're just never bored, are you?
That's the thing. I think it's interesting what you say about that segment of the film as well, because I think it's one of those movies that definitely benefits from rewatches, because when you settle in and just accept like the direction it goes, because you know at the end some people say it feels like the movie kind of, you think it's ending and then it kind of starts again with the final thing with the story with Vespa, and I think when you know that, and when you know all along how she's kind of been somewhat blackmailed into this, and that's why she's been pressurized into dealing, like coerced into this situation, it makes all of that stuff way more interesting. So I definitely felt that on the first time I saw it, where I was like, oh, this is an interesting direction. Like now it's this romance for quite a bit. And then suddenly something happens and the film kind of gets started again. But I think given what ends up being the conclusion for why she was involved the way she was and all of that with the ex-boyfriend and everything, it's like, oh, actually all of it makes more sense. So it's more, the more I watch it, the more I'm like, oh wow, this all really ties together so nicely. But it's not generic in the way it's structured there, for sure. Like the way it goes, where you have the conflict with Le Chiffre before that ends, that would normally typically be like somewhat coming up to the end of the film, and then it's like there's another whole like section, which is quite interesting. But yeah,
for sure. Yeah, it's entertaining as hell. All right, Legacy. You gave this a 9. I gave it an 8.5. Just for, I'm not as well versed in Bond. It's 20 years later now. We're in 20 years of this movie, and from what I gather from most fans, they were surprised how great this movie was.
Yes.
When it first come out, and everyone thought this was going to be a lousy Bond, and people are like one of the best Bonds. So I don't know exactly how the legacy holds up with Bond, but I can say that I think you know, you could look at this movie's legacy and go, yeah, Daniel Craig's one of the best Bonds, and this is how you do an origin tale. This is how you do an origin story. Maybe Batman Begins is kind of like they were taking that template, but hey, whatever. It's you look at this movie, and like you said, it's your favorite Bond movie. So tell me, what were your thoughts on, what do you think this legacy is now? Because it's been 20 years now.
I think the thing is, it's one of those series that has so much resting on it. Like the amount of expectations that go into a new Bond. Like even now, like the talks about where it's going to go, people have so many opinions on Bond, and people are always ready to hate it. Like, because people like things the way they were. Like people originally were like, Sean Connery is my Bond. Anyone who's not Sean Connery doing this thing is not Bond, and I won't stand for it. So you're having to win people over that already are not on the film side, you know, and already ready to have preconceptions about what the issues are going to be with it. And I think really, like, what at this time in 2006, it was over 40 years since the beginning of Bond. You're 20 films in, and I think to kind of revitalize it the way they did for the modern era, the kind of 21st century, I think it's amazing. And as you say, for this film to do the first one and make it, probably it was, I think, the best Bond film that's won most people over as well. I mean, I bet the director looks back and thinks, damn, I'm so glad, what a moment doing this movie, because it was so good that it just won the haters over. You know, it was like, it's one of those films that even the people that don't like it are really struggling to say why they don't like it, because it's so good. And I think making something feel fresh and new 40 years after and 20 sequels in is pretty impressive. So yeah, I mean, I love how they began this.
Well, you got to gather whoever's the next Bond, they're going to be comparing it to him. They're not going to be comparing it to Sean Connery. He is the new benchmark. This is it. And I'm on the outside here with Bond. Like this is what I know Daniel Craig for. This is how I got to know him. So kind of spawned his career in a lot of ways, right?
I think we're finally at a time where, as you say, the people, when we get a new Bond, it will be compared to Craig, because this is the we're finally comparing within the modern era of Bond. Because I think, especially before the Brosnan films, the movies, I would say, feel quite different to like the old Bonds, for obviously just for time, really. Like they feel quite different to the modern Bond. So it's kind of difficult now, I think, to even be like, you know, who's better out of, you know, Roger Moore or Daniel Craig or Sean Connery. It's like, it's so different, and it's so difficult to compare the two, I think. So I think Daniel Craig, for most people now, has really set a bar that as you rightly point out, that's what it will be compared to. Is this going to be the next Casino Royale? Is it going to be as good as Daniel Craig? And will they be able to do that? I currently am feeling quite cynical, I would say, about the new direction of Bond. I don't like that Amazon's bought it out. I really don't like that. I think that's a bad sign. So I'm worried that this will be the last 5-star Bond film that I'm going to see in my lifetime, sadly. But if I'm proved wrong, I'll be very happy.
Hey, we'll get Jason Statham to play Bond. Everything will be okay.
Happy days. I'll take that at this point, even though he's probably pushing 60, isn't he?
Yeah, he's a little old now. He's a little old. But hey, I just watched the time of this recording anyway. I just watched his last one, Shelter, and he's an ex-agent who was part of MI6. Like,
oh really? Interesting. That's part of
they're
trying to do a little tie-in.
It's not a great movie. It's not a great movie at all. But anyways, I digress. All right, let's tally these points up, and let's see how it fares on the leaderboards, everyone. And I will be posting these on Instagram too. All right, so last 2 weeks, guys, we had Marion Cobretti at 78, RoboCop, Peter Weller, what's his name, Murphy at 75. we got James Bond, my friends, at 97. So he just annihilated the hero leaderboard. Now, we got some good movies coming up, though. We got Raiders of the Lost Ark, Indiana Jones. We got Terminator coming up. We got some bangers coming up. So, but James Bond's definitely annihilated the hero competition here.
I'm surprised to see RoboCop's only down at what was it, 75?
That's just for the hero, though. That's just for the character of RoboCop.
Yeah, I love the character of RoboCop. I think he's great.
Yeah, well, that might have been my fault a bit. I think he's the weakest part of the movie. Like,
oh no.
Yeah, you'd have to go back and watch the episode. But
yeah, I will.
All right, villain Clarence Boddicker, 88. The Night Slasher from Cobra, 75. We got Le Chiffre coming in at 85. So Clarence Boddicker is still our champ so far. He's still our number one. And he is a good bad guy. He is a great villain. So, and for movies, we got Cobra at 85, RoboCop at 81. We have Casino Royale as a collective, guys. Keep that in mind, at 92. So it just annihilated. Well, not really annihilated. I mean, Cobra fared pretty well, but it's number one now. Casino Royale is our current Action Movies Reloaded Season 1 champion so far. So yeah, so congratulations, Casino Royale. I mean, I love this movie. So let's grade this baby. This is a great film. So we got Reload, Standby, and Retire. Basically, the best, the middle, the worst, Jack. So it's a reload. I'm reloading Casino Royale in my Blu-ray player so many times.
Absolutely. It's a must own. It's where I'm putting that. That is a top tier action movie, top tier Bond. One of my favorite movies. If I was to do a top 100 of all time, Casino Royale would absolutely be in that list. I'm a huge fan.
Yeah, me too. I think it was in my top 100 movies, if I'm not correct. I did that a while ago.
Yes, it was. It wasn't yours.
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah. So yeah, I really dig this movie. This is a yearly watch, especially when I'm watching Mission Impossible. I go back and I watch this, and when I'm in that kind of mood, and I still got to watch the other two. I've only watched up the Skyfall, so I got to.
They're
watch
good.
The
They're very good. I mean, I think Casino Royale and Skyfall are actually the two best. Spectre I like, but some people are a bit iffy on it, and I actually really like No Time to Die as well. No Time to Die is good, but I do think you've seen the top. I think Casino Royale and Skyfall are they're so good. Yeah. They're easily the best.
So just a last question before we get going, everyone. Please like, subscribe, check out Jack's channel too, Jack Petrie, YouTube channel. Hit the notification bell too. You don't want to miss this podcast, this series, guy. We're having a great time talking about all this stuff. So just tune into my channel as often as you can to get this out there. But also, Jack, I know we touched on this, but I guess I usually ask, can this be remade now? So I'm not really asking for a remake, but which direction would you like to see Bond go in? Who do you see as Bond? Who would you like to see play James Bond in a future sequel, or keeping the franchise going?
Oh, who would I like to see play it? I mean, one of the actors that has been in talks is Aaron Taylor-Johnson. And I think he would be the right pick. I think he's the right pick. I think he's got the acting talent. I think he's the right age. He looks the part. I think he's got what it takes. And I think right now, I can't think of somebody else that I would prefer to see in the role. So I think he could genuinely do really good with it. As for the direction of it, though, I'm not really sure. I think they'd have to change it up from the style that they've done of having the kind of coherent through story, even though it's more of a modern thing, I think, to do that, rather than have it more of the sort of episodic style. But I don't know if you can just do that again. I don't know if we can just go back and have another Bond story kind of told five movies through a big story. I'm not sure. They'd have to do something new with it, maybe something a bit more interesting with it, because I don't know what the future of Bond is going to be, and I wouldn't really be able to call where it's going to go. But I don't like to be negative about it, but I do sadly think we've potentially seen the best of it. I hope I'm wrong. I really hope I'm wrong, but I think the way they rejuvenated it with doing this through line story starting back at Casino Royale.
Yeah.
I think that was just the perfect idea for Bond. I mean, I don't know how you could do something better than that now.
Would you be down for like a one-off campier version, like them playing into a campier version again, or maybe going nostalgic with it and finding a really good Bond actor where it takes place in the 60s? It feels more like a 60s Bond just for one movie.
I think the problem is it's very difficult to recreate that now. I think it's very difficult to kind of capture, like, Britain in the 1960s. The only way to capture that is to go to Britain in the 1960s. I don't know. I don't know if it's possible to you can have the cars, you can have the look, you can recreate the streets and all this kind of stuff, but I just feel like when you look at old Bond, you know, Goldfinger, From Russia with Love, all these kind of movies, they were of their time, and I don't think you could make that into a modern film.
So you got to keep this gritty. Then you have to stick with.
I personally think that's the only way. I think that's the way to go. I think you could make it a bit more Mission Impossible, maybe, and make it like have a little bit lighter tone, make it a little bit more fun. But like, you know, Mission Impossible is still serious. I don't think you could go back to like Roger Moore level, like Moonraker. I don't think you could do that now. I don't think the audience would have it, to be honest.
Okay.
What about you? What about you? What do you want to see going forward?
My benchmark is Casino Royale, so I'd rather it gritty. I like this version of Bond. I like the grittier version of. I don't know who I'd get to play him. Like I was just joking about Jason Statham. Maybe when he was 10, 15 years younger, I'd be down for him. Like he's got charm, he's got the action, the action mojo down. You know what I mean?
He's definitely got that, and he's got the fun. He's funny as well. But I just think, I think the only problem with Statham is I'm like, in terms of like
he has the acting,
complexity, the acting, like the depth of acting maybe is the one thing he's falling short on. But he's good. He's good. But
what's the guy's name in? How could I forget this? I loved him in Man of Steel. What's his name?
Oh, Henry Cavill. Yeah, Henry Cavill.
Him when he was. Well, I don't know. He could probably still do it now. I've always thought Tom Hardy.
You'd have to crack on. You'd have to crack. You say with Tom Hardy though, they're getting too old. Like he's getting Tom Hardy. I mean, Tom Hardy. I think he's got to be pushing 50 now. So I think starting. I think the problem is he's not even doing it now. It's starting now. If you're going to do 5 or 6 films, you know, you're going to be.
And I don't know who the young people are. I don't know who the young bucks are now. Like, especially the British actors. I don't know who they.
Well, that's why I think Aaron Taylor-Johnson was the one who is a good pick, just because he's the right age and has the acting talent. Like, he, for me, is the one person that's kind of ticking all the boxes right now. I mean, Henry Cavill would have been good. I personally think Henry Cavill is a little bit polished. I think he's good. I do like him. I like him particularly in his role he did in Mission Impossible, actually, in Fallout. It was Fallout. Yeah, it was Fallout.
Yeah, he was great in that.
I thought he was great in that. I think he's a bit too perfect, a bit too polished for Bond. I prefer someone a little bit more. I don't know. There's something different about him and Daniel Craig. Do you know what I mean? It wouldn't be my pick, but I wouldn't hate it. Tom Hardy, in his day, I would have said absolutely could have done it. But I think now again, it's that problem that he's too big a star now. He's a massive star. He's been in so many films. He's so well known. And I think to start Bond now, it's maybe a little bit too late. I just think, because I mean, this is providing that they've even begun any kind of production. They haven't cast, they haven't done anything on it. So it's like, even if they got started on it soon, he's realistically going to be early to mid 50s by the first film, which is when most Bond actors were considered too old by, like, even Daniel Craig. I think he was like 52 in the last one, and then they were like, that's a good place to end for that kind of movie.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah, for sure. Well, let us know in the comments, everyone, what you thought of our discussion. Let me know what you think of Casino Royale. Who do you want to be cast as Bond? And tell me how much you guys like Bond, all that kind of stuff. I'd like to know, because I'm kind of like the Stallone Arnold 80s action guy. I'm not the Bond person. I definitely like to go watch them. No, I do have the Sean Connery box set, but let us know in the comments. Check out Jack's channel, all that, and I will see you guys next week for Raiders of the Lost Ark, and we'll see if Indiana Jones takes the top spot in the leaderboard. So this is episode 3 of Action Movies Reloaded. You're watching the Backtrack Cinema channel. I'll see you guys next time, and I'll see you in the movies. Cheers.
The name's Bond, James Bond.
Do I feel lucky? Well, do you, punk?